The living God. You will hear William Gargan as the roving announcer, Una O'Connor as the old woman, and Pedro de Cordova as the voice of Jesus in the greatest drama of the ages, The Living God. Yesterday we left our narrator in Jerusalem in the year 33, where he had been taken by faith through time and space in his search for the living God. At that time he described for us the trial and sentencing of Christ by Pontius Pilate. Once more, we find him in Jerusalem.
How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? Yesterday we witnessed together the condemnation of Jesus. Today we are following Jesus to Golgotha. The procession is forming. The captain of the guards is leading it on horseback. Behind him is a herald carrying the sign which will later be nailed to the cross. In 3 languages, Hebrew, Greek, and Latin, it reads, Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews. Slowly, painfully, Jesus is trying to lift the cross to his left shoulder, and a little way behind, the 2 other condemned men are carrying only the crossbar. One is called
Jesmas.
Oh, my faithful and mysterious friend, you're here again. I'm going to need your help. Will you stay beside me for, well, I feel very small in the presence of this tremendous drama.
Did not Jesus say, weep not over me, but weep for yourself? Or if in the greenwood they do these things, what shall be done in the dry? I shall stay by your side and help you.
Thank you. Tell me, how is the other man called? He looks quiet and resigned to his fate.
His name is Dismas.
Jesus looks exhausted.
Oh, he hasn't eaten, drunk, or slept, you know. Since the Last Supper, he has lost a great deal of blood from his wounds.
At last, Jesus has lifted the heavy cross to his shoulder, and the procession is slowly moving on its way. That was the herald blowing his trumpet to open up the way.
Come, let us follow them. Look, over there, on her knees. His mother.
Now I seem to understand what prayer really is.
Yes, it is her first novena. The first novena.
The procession has now reached Golgotha. I'm standing on a little elevation. I can see that 3 holes have been dug in the ground. The cross of Jesus has just been thrown down near the hole in the middle, and it made a great thud. Now one of the guards is brutally pulling Jesus up on the platform, and he's sinking slowly down upon it. Has he still enough strength to be conscious of what is happening? Oh, yes, if you remember, the other day in the Garden of Olives, when his disciples were asleep, he foresaw this and all else that was to come. A reddish mist dims the pale sun and silhouettes the actors of this drama in sinister shadow. The executioners are preparing the cross. Listen to them.
We need thy measurements, King of the Jews, that thy throne may fit thee.
Jesus is dragging himself toward the cross and lies upon it. They're marking the places for the nails. Those are the wedges they're driving in. Now they're making Jesus stand up. The executioners are tearing off his garment, but Jesus remains silent. He bends down and turns away as one of his executioners brutally presses a crown of woven thorns down upon his head. Someone presents him with a cup which he starts to take to his lips and then refuses. Why is he refusing a beverage which might deaden his nerves and help him bear some of the pain he is about to endure? Well, there goes a man breathless from running. He pushes his way through the crowd and, hurrying to Jesus, gives him a piece of cloth which he accepts. The man glances at Mary through the line of soldiers, and I can see her thank him with her eyes. Jesus fastens the cloth about his hips.
He won't be cool like that.
Jesus lies down on the cross by himself. One of the executioners is taking his right hand and tying it stolidly to the crossbar, while another holds his hand open. The third is placing a big nail in the center of his hand. He's lifting the hammer and... Oh! Now they're taking the left hand. Violently, the executioner is pulling it so that it will be in line with the mark for the nail. Oh! The nailing is done, and now the executioners are getting up.
If thou be king of the Jews, save thyself.
The body of Jesus is convulsed from head to foot. His chest tries to expand to inhale some air. His head has fallen sideways. Red tears are streaming down his cheeks. Now the executioners are binding his chest and hips to the cross so that his hands won't tear when it's raised. Now they're lifting the cross and are pushing it toward the hole. Oh, with all its weight it fell in. The shock must have been terrible. Jesus made a faint cry.
If thou be the Son of God, come down from the cross. Thou that destroyest the temple of God and in 3 days doth rebuild it, save thine own self.
A few terrified birds are circling wildly in the sky, which is getting darker and darker. On either side of Jesus, the executioners are preparing 2 other crosses for Gesmus and Dismas, while over his head they have just nailed the sign.
They shouldn't have written the King of the Jews, but that he said, I am King of the Jews. We don't want him to rule over us.
The crosses of the other 2 condemned men have been raised. They're a little lower.
Why is Jesus' cross higher than the other 2?
Did he not say that he was king?
A little way back, the executioners are fighting over Jesus' garments. Listen to them argue.
I tell you, it's mine. I want the belt.
I want the coat.
Give me the sandals.
Who wants the tunic? Tear it up and divide the pieces.
No, it would lose all its value. Toss for it. It's mine. I want it, but it's burning my hand.
Oh, my friends, it's very difficult to draw an accurate picture of all that's going on. The guards have all they can do to prevent the crowd from surging against the cross. All the soldiers are drunk. Nailed to the cross on his left, Gesmus is shouting at Jesus.
If thou be Christ, save thyself and us.
I believe Jesus is about to speak. His lips are moving.
Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do.
Gesmus, dost thou not fear God, seeing thou art under the same condemnation? And we indeed justly, for we receive the due reward of our deeds. But this man hath done no evil.
Dismas is turning to Jesus.
Lord, remember me when thou shalt come into thy kingdom.
Amen. I say to thee, this day thou shalt be with me in paradise.
The sky is darkened. A pall hangs over the earth as though the end of the world were at hand. Now, supported by John, Mary at last approaches the cross. Jesus looks tenderly at her.
Woman, behold thy son. Behold thy mother.
What an extraordinary pronouncement.
Yes. And how consoling. The tender love of Jesus for his creatures. He gives us too, like John, Mary for our mother. And we take her for our very own.
Now Jesus is suffering beyond all expression. Again he speaks.
Lama sabachthani.
What did he mean?
My God, why hast thou forsaken me?
Oh, the desolation of that cry.
I thirst.
One of the soldiers has tied a sponge to a stick that has been dipped in vinegar. He's raising it to Jesus' lips.
Stay. Let us see if Elias comes to take him down.
Jesus has raised his head. He seems transformed and, why, yes, as if contented with all that's happened.
It is consummated.
Consummated? Finished? What is finished? His voice has an extraordinary power, but hush.
Father, into thy hands I commend my spirit.
A great sigh and nothing more. His eyes have closed. His head has fallen forward. The rumbling of an earthquake is heard. Between the cross of Jesus and that of Jesmus, a large cleft appears in the earth. A centurion is raising his spear and, he's driven it into Jesus' side. Blood and water gush out. The voice of the centurion is heard.
That man really was the Son of God.
Nicodemus and Joseph of Arimathea have arrived with shrouds and myrrh. Joseph has placed a ladder against the cross at the foot of which Mary is kneeling. John and the others surround her. Nicodemus now speaks.
That is what they have done to him.
Standing on a ladder, Joseph, with infinite care, is taking out the nails. Mary is standing there waiting to receive the body of her son, that she may wash and somewhat restore what we have broken and covered with blood. In the immensity of her suffering, the dignity of her bearing and her calmness bear witness to the certitude of her faith. But look, Mary has turned. She's looking at me. No, not at me alone. Her gaze seems to take in all the peoples of the earth of all times and to contain a promise. What can it be?
Did not Jesus say, "The third day shall I rise again"?
You have been listening to The Living God, presented in cooperation with the National Council of Catholic Men. Heard on today's program were William Gargan as the roving announcer, Una O'Connor as the old woman, Dennis Day as the centurion, and Pedro de Cordova as the voice of Jesus. Supporting roles were played by professional Hollywood actors and the radio players of Loyola University of Los Angeles. Special musical scoring and effects by Robert Mitchell and his St. Brendan's Boys Choir. The Living God has been adapted from the French of Sita and Suzanne Millard. This program has been produced under the direction of Martin Work.